the one with the fancy hats.
George, where is your hat?
It's right here.
No.
Got my fancy hat.
Julian earlier got a good picture of me. Post that.
Fancy hat.
Nice hat. And that's
Nice hat. Hey, I'm Alice Lara. That was a voice of Don Jorge.
Don Jorge, the deplorable one. Hillary calls me one of the deplorable Trumpistas.
Trumpistas. Yeah, we are Trump supporters here. Well, you know what? Do we have? Yeah, we have that cut right. If you are looking at our Facebook site, Chip Sliver and the Salsa Show, we have the beautiful Secret Sonia is behind the camera there. She's taking a really nice close-up of, I voted Trump, that's okay.
And the thing is, it is not only because of Trump. If anybody had run and represented the United States the way Trump is doing, I'd be backing him.
Yes,
you know?
we would.
And if Caesar says now he's going to be here next week, if he he's running for president. He's a Latino, Hispanic. He's running for president. If he had a great idea that could beat Trump's, which I don't think he can, but I would support him.
I know you would. You're truly. Now, Caesar was a Republican. I think he's an independent now.
Yeah, he's an independent, and he's going to be here next week, and he's going to tell us what he would do if he was president.
It would be a good show.
Yeah, I might do security for him. You know.
Oh,
Yeah,
I might. Another job, like you need another job. We also have in studio next week too is Jesse Romero will be back.
Oh, Jesse! Oh,
Jesse's fantastic. He's good. He is a Catholic evangelist.
I like Augie to be here.
We'll call him.
Augie has been here with Caesar in the past and really made it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know why you're thinking of it. I know why you did that. If you go to YouTube and if you could find that, I don't know if we have that by the titles. You could do it. No, no, it's too bad. We're gonna fix that one of these days. We had a really good interview with him. It was on YouTube. Anyway, if this is the first time that you've tuned into our show, we are in the Molcajete here, we like to call it. My niece, Monica Lara, created our logo. And if you look up, that little bowl that has the blue legs to it, that's called the Molcajete, where we make salsa and guacamole and all that stuff. Because George and I are here usually. Martin Gonzalez sometimes joins us. He's kind of on hiatus for a little bit, but he's still part of the group, right, George? Martin is.
Yeah, he's really and he's good when he's on our show. He brings so much to our show. So.
He's so funny.
And he works behind the scenes now, but we're hoping that we can get him back on the show.
Yeah, hopefully he'll come back soon. And we just want to take time also to thank our audience. You guys have been great. You chipsters, I like to call them, and been supporting us. We appreciate that. If you're watching us on Facebook, please go to our site and share this Facebook broadcast, because then it can be on your site and we get more listeners, more watchers. Watchers, I mean, watchers. Yeah. And you can do that, right, George?
That's right. And I want to tell people, do follow One Truth if you can on iTunes. They are our sponsor for the Chips and Salsa Show, one of our sponsors. And we would like you to check them out on iTunes and check out some of their music. Some of their music is really great. Some of it is new to people, so it takes you a while to kind of understand their music. But we recommend that you go on iTunes. It's called One Truth with J.C. Gonzalez. And go on Facebook and check them out, because they have a lot of videos that I think would make you understand their songs even better.
Yes, they are great. And George, I also want to give some kudos to my nephew David Beasley, because he wrote the music for the Chips and Salsa Show. And it's always fun to listen to it. I never get tired of it. Hopefully, you know what, George, I haven't told you, he's going to be in Phoenix in August, so I think he's going to be able to come here one weekend and do an interview. He's a strong conservative Republican and funny. They do a podcast, in fact, a financial one, so I'm hoping to get him in studio here. Before we get to our wonderful guest, Andy Zhang, did you want to talk about the MRC a little bit, George?
Yeah, I just want to mention a couple of things that are coming up. This is the MCR, the Maricopa County Republicans organization. They're having a couple of events, one in August the 17th with a bunch of legislative districts, another one in October with Senator Debbie Lesko's home, another group of legislative districts, and also another one at the west side with our legislative district, and of course yours, the 27th. That's November the 9th. On September the 22nd, they're having a what they call a Constitution dinner, and it's going to be at the Para Club in Tempe. And we'll give you more information on my daily blogs that I do daily. I'll give you more information how you can be involved in that, how you could get tickets for that. It's going to be a great event, and we have a silent auction that we're going to have, and I'll give you more information on that daily as I do the daily blogs.
George, I want to give special kudos to Chris Herring, who is the chairman.
He's the chairman, and he's doing a great job for the county.
Great meeting that he ran. I went and attended it, and he did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Very impressed with him. And guess what? I booked him. I think he's not going to be here till September.
Yeah, he's going to be one of our guests here on the Chips and Salsa Show. And hopefully we'll have Jonathan Lyons again. We had him on when we had the AM show, and maybe we'll have him in the future too, because he's doing a lot for the state Republican Party.
You know, the night we had him on, you guys were gone. I was doing the show by myself.
know.
The electricity went out. And so I think we even lost the show. We didn't even have that show, which is a really big bummer. And Sony wasn't there to record it or anything. So,
So
that
we'll
was
have
such
him.
a-
We'll have him here in the future, Jonathan Lyons, and he's a great chairman for the Arizona Republican Party. I'm one of the board members, so on the state board.
One of the board members. Okay, so we have the second hour. We decided to do this because we wanted to take the opportunity to invite our good friend Andy Zhang back.
Yep.
Because for several things. First of all, if you listen to our show, he's been on before. Let me give a tiny little background. Welcome, Andy. Thank you.
Thanks for having me again.
We're so happy to have you back.
And he just came from China, right?
Yeah, I just came back from China actually just 3 days ago. I made like 3 trips to China over the past like 8 or 9 months.
Wow. And we just wanted to give a little background. Andy is an American citizen. He's a naturalized citizen, originally from China. He came and on scholarship, went to ASU. Correct me if I say anything wrong, Andy. And he decided he wanted to stay in the United States, and he became a citizen, naturalized citizen. He is a Republican. He's a sharp guy. It's been my privilege to know him for a few months now, and he ran for the school board last year. And we're just so happy to have him. We decided to invite him to give us an update because he goes to China very often and what's going on there politically. And then also we might get into a little bit of some legislation that he was made aware of.
Absolutely.
That we talked about, right?
Mhm.
Am I right on that?
Yeah, I want to add it to that. I came here legally.
Legally. Yeah, baby. Yeah. And you know, one of the things I just want to ask you right off the bat, because we've had this conversation before. And one of the things, people think that every person who comes here illegally only is a maid or is a laborer in landscape, which really doesn't make any difference. They're still here illegally. But if you have done all the work to be a citizen legal, it's a lot of work, a lot of money, and a lot of time. It's just a big slap in the face to just be able to walk across the border and, well, you can't do anything to me. And I invite you also to go to our Facebook page because there was a story that I posted, and I tried to post it. I don't know if Facebook gods weren't really posted very well, about someone who kind of took advantage of that. So I know that, I can imagine that you might have a little bit of the same feelings about that. Do you, Andy?
Absolutely. So many immigrants, I'm talking about specifically immigrants from China, right? Those people who have a similar background like me. Why we came over here? We came over here because we believe this is a land of opportunity, where you do see equal opportunity, where if you work hard, you will be able to get ahead. You get a fair chance to get ahead. That's exactly what happened to most of the Chinese immigrants I personally know of. You know, they came here without much money, obviously. Our generation of Chinese people were very poor. They came here without much money at all. They came here with very little cultural, literacy. And came here, they either don't speak English at all, or they speak, broken English. Somehow they managed to get ahead, right? If I look at all those people now, they're mostly, upper middle class people. They worked their butt off. And they will see the result.
And it used to be that way for all immigrants.
Exactly. That's one thing I want to talk about. It's somewhat related to my trips back to China. So I went back to China about like 3 times over the past 8 or 9 months. So every time I went back to China, I have this strong feeling that, China and America, they're getting increasingly similar.
Similar?
Similar, yeah. One may ask, how so? You're the communist country, right? You don't have human rights, you don't have, freedom of speech, you have so many,
You would think
environmental
total opposite of
problems.
China.
Sure, China do have this problem. What I'm talking about is like I often talk to the people in China or the people in here. I make it short. I think China is becoming more and more like America. And America is becoming more and more like China. What that means? What that means is that China has adopted a lot of principles and values that historically made America successful. Things like, less government control, more individualism, and self-reliance.
So I think that's a wonderful point. I hate to cut you off. We're going to have more of Andy Zhang here on the Chips and Salsa Show with Alice Lara and
Yeah, we got to
Ortiz.
continue this.
It's interesting radio, King FM. Do not go away.
Show and I wanted to tell you about our newest Chips and Salsa.
Need more water? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Which one's mine?
One of the older girls?
That's
No,
what
right.
I
That's right. Right.
Each area builds agents that specialize in first-time home
No, that was,
investors, luxury excellence. Their
Empty?
How ironic would it be? How many people are in China? A billion?
Oh, well, yeah, we'll continue on with this. It's very ironic for me. It's somewhat disappointing because I'm a U.S. citizen now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's seeing.
I want my country to get better.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I always
Right,
tell the
George?
story. When I was years ago on a plane from El Paso, and it was a guy who was from Mexico originally, and he told me he was trying to get his citizenship legal. And he was so excited. He said the main difference for him is, he says, in Mexico the law means nothing.
Hey dog
It means
lovers,
nothing.
do you need
Because
someone
they
to
can do
look
it
after
after
your
you want.
pet but don't want to
Here in
be
the
your
United
best
States,
friend
it
in
means
cage
something.
and
In other
some
words,
kennel?
nobody's
Turn to
going to
Rover.
want.
Rover is your
But now,
one-stop shop
there's an
for
argument
loving,
there.
trustworthy dog sitters near you.
Well, just
It's
like
a
there's
free
other,
online
uh,
service that connects you with a
democracy here,
nationwide network of dog lovers for hire.
in
Just go to comeonover.rover.com.
I think that's why a lot of
In seconds, you'll be browsing dog sitters in your neighborhood. Search by travel name or zip code. Read reviews, see photos, and find the perfect sitter for your
Play a
pet.
few
Rover
seconds.
makes the whole process fast and easy. You'll hit the road happy, knowing your dog will be treated like family.
China used to be like that.
Want to come out with that? You want to come in? Come in with that?
It wasn't even private property ownership before. That's what true
and get your
communism.
dog's first night free. That's a $25 value. So join hundreds of thousands of dog lovers who rely on
That's why I
Rover.
think
It's fast, it's
we
easy,
immigrants
and your
like
first
you
night is free. Go to
and really understand what America's
comeonover.rover.com.
supposed to do.
That's
You're going to have to be the ones that
comeonover.rover.com.
say
The
this.
experts at web.com want to build your business a successful website for free, just like we did for these current web.com customers.
We've looked at other website
How long have you been
designers.
here now
There's
in the
nobody
United
better than web.com.
Every time is about 2 weeks.
Build your
This
website
time
in
is a
as
little
little as
under
7
2
days
weeks.
free. Plus, we'll
Oh,
promote
we have a lot of work to do here,
If
so
after 30
40
days
seconds.
you're happy, we'll continue to provide promotion, posting, support, and maintenance, all for low monthly
China
fee.
trip is not work related. It's personal trip.
If you're in business and
You got a girlfriend back there?
you
No, no.
Free.com or .net domain name for your new website.
You got a boyfriend
powered
back
by
there?
Verisite, leading domain name provider.
Charge per second. A 1-point fees apply. Rights to sign or relinquish when canceled. Domain included during active service, after which fees apply.
855-672-1565,
10 seconds. Stand by.
855-672-1565,
Ruben,
672-1565.
coming
That's
up.
855-672-1565.
It's our duty to defend our American way of life. We're filled with honor when we see
Alright, I'm just gonna pot you up and you just take it whenever you want.
with the hand of God.
Get ready. Give the left a run for the. It's our good friend Ruben Ruben Obed, and she's the one that wrote that song, Buttons for Trump. And he has a new one, and it's all about what we're just talking about with Andy Zhang. And I encourage you to go to YouTube, check it out. I think we post it on our site. We could do that again. And he just does a really nice job. It's always good to dance to. He's from Puerto Rico, right? Puerto Rico. And we need to have him on the show here soon. They've got different hours than us, so I'll try to get that arranged soon. But I encourage you to support him. He's a big supporter of Trump, just like you, George, and Andy, and myself here. So
Yes.
we are back with the Chips and Salsa Show, and we're talking to Andy Zhang, and he's just back from China. And the point that he was making, if you just tuned in, is ironically, as he goes back to China, China's adopting a lot of the U.S. values, and unfortunately, the U.S. is going the other direction.
Yes, that's why I said China is becoming more and more like America, because China is embracing the principles and values that historically made America successful. And unfortunately, on the other hand, it would appear to me America is breaking away from those principles and values. Now, we've been saying for many years the ever increasing government and the government control, right?
Yes.
And people are increasingly relying on the government. There are more and more people that are expecting to get more and more from the government. We have ever increasing welfare program as subsidies for the people. So there are many people, the middle class people included, that no longer believe, no longer hold the traditional belief that if you work hard, you'll be able to get ahead. They blame the government, they blame the society, they blame a different group, another group of people, except for themselves. This is not America was supposed to be. This is what China used to be. That's what I'm saying. America is more and more like China. What I truly mean is that America is more and more like China before. So this is a very unfortunate trend for America.
How does it look in China? How do people in welcome that change?
Oh, I would say overwhelming majority, especially the younger generation people. There are probably some older generation people that are they feel they're kind of left out in the economic prosperity. Not because their living standard is not improved, because the economic progress in China has created a very large income gap, which is a bad thing. So for those older generation people, they typically see smaller improvement. So there's certain resentment, toward the status quo, because you have gained so much, I have gained so little. So
There's a resentment
make no
there.
mistake, China do have, a lot of problems, human rights problem, internet firewall, environmental problems, but the progress is undeniable.
So you still want to live in the United States right now, right?
Absolutely. I want to make sure that's still my intention.
So Andy is a Republican, he's a conservative, and you're fighting for these values. In fact, I think, have you part of an Asian coalition? Is there a group out there that you're still part of?
Well, we have it's like a grassroots organization supporting Trump, and we did a lot of work in the last general election cycle. We actually actively campaign for Trump. We're not just doing lip service. We raised money. We raised a lot of money. We did the aerial flying campaign, flying air banners, which
great.
triggered
Yeah.
a nationwide campaign in almost all the major states across the country. Within Chinese communities. So we did a lot of work. We're trying to create a new, it's more official organization. So we're trying to advocate our, political belief. Our purpose is trying to get more and more Chinese people involved in politics to participate in the political process.
As
I know
independents or conservative?
Yes, of course. We take a stand. We're not vague at all. We do take a stand. We embrace the conservative value. We focus on the equality, and the left and right have a different interpretation of equality. Our equality is the equal opportunity, not equal result. individual effort matters. So we're promoting equality. The true equality, we're definitely anti any type of racial quota in any area.
I think that you understand the concept of America. Unfortunately, maybe more so than a lot of Americans, especially on the left, do. And it's so exhilarating that you think this way. Now, I know you and I had a conversation earlier this week, and you were talking about the way that more recent immigrants view versus those that have been here a longer time and their politics.
Right. It's interesting, actually. Earlier immigrants and also let's say the Asian people or Chinese people born in the United States, they're more left-leaning. The new immigrants, people like me, who came from China in recent decades, there are a lot of right-leaning people supporting Republicans. I think over the past a couple of decades also, the majority of the Asians, they supported Democrats in general elections, right? I'm seeing a clear trend, at least among Chinese communities. It's breaking away from the Democrat to Republican in the last general election. We might still be the minority in terms of support on the right side, but our voice in the last general election is much louder than the other side, and we did a whole lot more. I'm pretty sure we raised a lot more money than the left side. Although you can't find the numbers, they might still be the majority.
I think it's a big similarity there with minorities like us, and the Latinos and also the Black community. There is a very conservative faction, but we are still a minority maybe within the party. Although when I go on Facebook, there are all kinds of groups, Latinos for Trump, conservative Latinos. There's how many? It must be the same trend, I would imagine, with the Asian community.
Yeah, I would say that's the case.
We need to bring them in here, and we can have a whole studio audience.
Yeah, I think that especially in Chinese community, traditionally they're not involved in politics. They're more involved in their career, their kids' education, but not much in politics.
Like a lot of Americans.
And more so among Asian community and Chinese community. So we're trying to send out the signals to tell people, actually, all the politics, even the national politics or local politics, they have a direct impact on you, such as the legislation in this state of Arizona we were talking about the other day. All those things, they will have a direct impact on your life, on your children.
Okay. Andy, do you want to get into that legislation a little bit? We've got about 4 minutes, or would you rather?
Sure.
Okay. Andy brought it to my attention. This is a resolution. It's SCR 1012. And I'll just let you kind of explain it. First of all, a resolution is not the same thing as a law.
It's a concurrent resolution, which is not a law.
So, and it did not pass. However, things can always come back in a new session. So, explain what it is and maybe why you are a little concerned about it.
So the resolution is it's basically by nature it's Asian deaggregation legislation. Basically, it tries to divide the Asian population, which consists of only less than 6% of the entire U.S. population, into small subgroups. Then they're going to collect data onto each subgroup. What the resolution says, we do this in order to recognize the diversity. That's what it
Which
is.
sounds beautiful on paper.
It sounds beautiful by paper, right? It's all the high-sounding reason, apparently. But the reality could be very different. I don't know exactly what their intentions is for this one, but it definitely could have unintended consequences. And it's not a good thing. If you would look at history, when a race is singled out by the authority, it's never a good thing. For Chinese people, in 1882, Chinese people were singled out. by the authority, by Congress. Then there was a Chinese Exclusion Act, which banned Chinese immigration and neutralization, which legally excluded Chinese people from American society entirely. It's not so distant memory because the law was not abolished until the World War II when China and the U.S. became allies.
Oh, really? I
Yes.
didn't know
In 1930s, in Germany, the Jews were singled out. We all know what happened to the Jews after that. And in 1942, the Japanese Americans were singled out and they were sent to internment camp. It's never a good thing. Now we look at legislation itself, the recent history. It actually started out in the liberal California. What they're first trying to do, the Democrat Assembly, the legislators are trying to do, is to amend California Constitution to implement affirmative action and racial quota. When that failed, they had this Asian deaggregation bill in order to collect data onto the subgroup Asians, to break up Asians, basically to use as a backdoor to implement affirmative action and racial quota in education, employment, and healthcare. So this resolution could have some unintended consequence. We cannot allow that to happen.
And that was successful in California, which of course has a very big Asian population.
Right, extend this to other liberal states as well. It already passed a similar law in New York State.
Well, we're going to come back and maybe touch on this a little bit more. We still have a lot to talk about with Andy. This is a great hour. Please tell your friends about it, share it on Facebook, and listen to more of the Chips and Salsa Show here. I'm Alice Lara with.
Jorge.
Stay tuned for more. Thank you.
Yeah, 190 views.
Did you share this on your Facebook page?
I don't know how to share.
Go to our Chips and Salsa Facebook page.
All right.
And you'll find the video.
I shared it.
And you know what? Our intern found out that I could share it. She was using my phone. She figured out how to share it.
I gotta figure out how to share while I'm on here. I don't know.
You mean share on my page?
Yes.
Oh.
And then just share it to your page. And you can say, you know, I'm on the radio.
Yeah, people that know you.
I know. All right, sure.
Say it in Chinese.
That would be great.
We had some Chinese friends.
Okay, scroll down a little
They're all
bit.
learning the bad words.
Okay, share. So automatically goes to mine.
Oh wait, is that the video?
So we're going, Bechao, Bechao was here, I think.
No, it's not written. Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry.
What am I gonna do?
Scroll down and look for the video. It'll say Chips and Salsa.
Which one?
And I thought that was his name. And Mark says, no, that's not his name. That's it.
This one?
No, that's
He just went by it.
Can't go by it. That's hilarious.
it's not even showing on that. It should be up more. Yeah, it's not gonna be down that far.
No, where is it?
Come back and let's talk about that app. Right, I've got a trainer. You know what
It's
else?
not showing up on it.
It's not going a little bit.
No,
Should be the
it's,
first one.
it's not the first one.
Are you still coming in during the day?
It should
I won't
be.
be starting the job. Man, praying for this business to take off. The other one.
It should say second hour, but it's not showing the video.
So I'm gonna be working this job at least until.
Well, we can watch some later, right?
From 8
We'll be
to
still there
4.
later.
Yeah, it'll be on there later.
Yeah.
Usually what I do
We
is
still need to
also
do cut commercials.
I'm not using an app. That's probably why. I'm using the web page.
Okay, yeah, the webpage doesn't work like the app.
We're gonna take off.
Yeah, but I'm.
That's why all my people now want to go.
He doesn't have the app. He's on the internet itself. It doesn't work the same.
Is he coming back? Y'all can invite him back, right?
We forgot to take a picture of some.
How much time I have on this?
We still have 2 more segments. This is about, what, 12 minutes?
Yep, we got 30 seconds after this stops at.
You can stay with us to the top if you want.
All right, all right. Do I still have comments or I'm done?
No, you're not done. You're going to be on a while.
Not done.
You're not done.
Okay.
We said special for you. We gave it 24 hours.
Oh, absolutely. I haven't talked a bit more then. About the California thing first. We'll have to
10 seconds, stand by.
talk about the background and talk about the bill itself.
Solutions, Inc., which is a licensed insurance agency from Washington State and DC. Not all agents are licensed to sell all products or service availability.
Okay, so
I'm really confused because like my dad's Latino and my mom is white. Does that mean I can only listen to like half of Chips and Salsa?
That's the smartest thing I've ever heard anyone say about anything.
Yes, it is, except that we're even smarter.
Yeah.
We try to be, huh,
We
George?
try to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not just half.
Now, it's Lara here with George Ortiz, and this is second hour of the Gypsy Salsa Show. I'll just complicate it.
Time is just flying.
George, I want to make sure that our audience out there knows and remind them about the app for Central City Radio. Because maybe you're watching us on Facebook right now, but maybe next week you're going to be driving, or you're home, or you're like, Alice doesn't talk loud enough, I can't hear her. You can go to centralcityradio.com and you can download the app. You'll have it on your phone. You click it, you can listen to our podcast, you can listen to Central City Radio Live. It's very easy. I have it on my phone. Do you have it on your phone, George?
Yes.
We're going to get Andy also to put it on his phone too, I think. Yeah. But it works great.
Perfect phone.
And you can listen to our podcast on his show, on the Central City Radio show during the week. You listen to the show in its entirety in our podcast. And it's a whole list of podcasts that Central City has from all our previous shows.
Yeah, maybe you just tuned in right now and you said, oh gosh, you know, they're talking to Andy. I wish I could listen to it. That's okay. Go back because Julian will have it set up here. I'm sorry. Julian's trying to distract me here with some pretty good graphics there. Okay, trying to chop it up and make it
Get it cracking now.
Get it cracking. Yeah, get it cracking. That's new one you made up. We're getting our guac on here, though, here on the Chips and Salsa Show. We're going to continue with Andy Zhang, and he is been on the show before. He is enlightening us.
Very well.
He was a China citizen. He is a naturalized citizen from China, and we're talking about some legislation, potential legislation here on the state level, and we're going to continue on with that. So you're worried about this, even though it's a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts out to be that, but it can continue.
Right,
and
that's
be
how things
bad
got
for
started,
the
you
Asian
know.
population.
Yeah, I gave a little bit background about this Asian de-aggregation legislation across the country. I can give you a little bit more detail on that. So they basically started out in the state of California in, I think, year 2012. A Senate Constitution Amendment number 5 was raised by, well, not surprisingly, a bunch of Democrat legislators. They're trying to amend.
Thank God it wasn't Republican.
They're trying to amend the California Constitution by eliminating a constitutional provision that bans affirmative action and racial quota in employment and education. So that bill failed to pass the House because of fierce opposition from the Asian community, mainly the Chinese community, and also the Republican legislators. So after that, well, we know that's a party who is obsessed with race. We're not going to give up on this, right? So they tried once to raise another bill, which is Asian aggregation bill. It was first vetoed, actually, passed the assembly, but vetoed by the governor. Then after that, they tried it again, one more time, and that bill is called AB 1726. So this bill basically is an Asian de-aggregation bill that says we need to break up the Asian population into all these small subgroups by all kinds of messed up criteria. I'll elaborate later on. And we're going to collect data on those subgroups and use this data in healthcare, education, and employment. It did not flat out say we're going to ban affirmative action, we're going to implement racial quota. But what do you think they're going to do with the data in education and employment? They're going to implement affirmative action and racial quota, right? That's pretty clear. Because that's what the Democrats would do. That's what they would do. That's why they raised this bill. So again, it's fierce opposition from the Asian community and from the Republican legislators. So in the end, they modified the bill. They removed the wording about employment and education. They only kept the wording in healthcare, as if they were going to use the data for healthcare. As if. So because of that, as a compromise, I think in assembly got passed. And since then, there have been multiple states. They're either discussing or passing, the similar legislation. New York State already passed it. I think they're discussing Rhode Island and Massachusetts and others. Now in Arizona, we have this resolution. Not surprisingly. What surprises me is that this time along, it's by a Republican senator.
What's her
Anyway,
name?
Kimberly E. And by the way, she's of Chinese descent as well. She was born here. So why this resolution is problematic? Why?
And just
Let's
remind
look-
the audience again, that is dead. It's
Right.
not. It's
This
dead.
one is dead in the water, but it might come back in a different name, right? So we can't just forget it. It's dead, but we need to talk about it to make sure it won't happen again. So the resolution itself, if you look at the nature of Asian desegregation, it's totally divisive. We as a minority group, Asian Americans, we've been advocating unity, right? Not division. Now you come along, you're trying to divide us into this many subgroups. You're trying to single out every individual, tell, Alice, you're different. You're different from other people. Why do you want to do that?
And Andy, wouldn't that be similar to, like, take the Latino community, okay, this is the Puerto Rican, this is the Mexican, this
Right.
is Guatemalan, and separate everything out little by little.
We're Asians, we're all Americans. That's what I think.
Right.
Asian is a race concept, you cannot change that. But we're all Americans. But from the law, we're all equal. You do not need to single out all those people to tell them they're different. Because before the law, we're all the same. So this is totally a divisive concept and divisive legislation.
I think it's so great that you're bringing this to everyone's attention. And because I know Andy, he is a strong political activist, so if you're just hearing about this now, it's not going to be the last time. Because I know that you're going to keep it in front of people, especially if it comes back again.
Absolutely.
Have you been able to speak to the sponsors? She's a senator.
We're trying to talk to her. We're trying to make an appointment with the senator. So, well, we'll talk about this resolution itself a little bit more. So, it's also it's clearly unfair, right? Why would you handpick, Asians, which only consists of like less than 6% of the population? Why not Hispanic, which is 17%? Why not African American, which is 13%? Why not white, is like more than 60%? Their reason is Asians are very diversified. Heck, we're all diversified. Don't you think Hispanics are diversified too?
Absolutely.
I mean, how much different, between a Korean and Chinese compared to a Cuban Hispanic and Mexican Hispanic? I guess the difference is even bigger out there, right? Haitian African American or Nigerian Somali Africans, the difference might be even bigger, right? Why don't you do the same? Why is it only Asians? It just doesn't make sense at all.
Well, how could it affect a regular Chinese person? How could it? Is there that many diversities from the Chinese populace that they can go in and?
Well, China has multiple ethnic groups. That's another thing we're going to talk about, because they could possibly effectively, scientifically do this thing. So, it's basically, the unfairness is pretty obvious, right? Even the white people, a Jewish white or Irish white, it could be very different too, don't you think?
Well, absolutely. And
So
what it
why
is-
don't you single them out?
And what America was based on, and you remember this when you were in school, you're supposed to be a melting pot.
Exactly.
So the whole theory is, in the end, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm proud of my ethnic background. There's a lot to be proud of. But in the end, and first and foremost, you are American. Okay, we're coming up on the end of this segment. We still have one more segment to go. And I do want to say, I know Kimberly, and she's very reasonable. She's very smart. She's been there a while. And I think it's a matter of, we talked about this, the education of it all and where it might go. Because when you see it, it looks, oh, that's very nice. They're recognizing that it's a very diverse group when you see it up front. But that's what happens with a lot of legislation. That's why it's important to understand it. But we'll be right back with more of the Chips and Salsa Show. Thank you so much for listening. We'll get some chips and salsa and come back with Alice Lara Jorge Ortiz, our guest Andy Zhang. Don't go away.
Yeah, and later we can talk about how absurd the deaggregation criteria are.
We have one more segment. We got another 12 minutes.
Yep. About.
12 minutes. Is there anything we need to announce?
Give us a call because we're going to let 1 million people try Proactive Plus.
I mean, I'll take that opportunity to download the app.
There you go.
Yay. We'll talk about that. So Andy downloaded the app.
But look, Susie does this. Yeah, show Alice. Look, Alice.
Free shipping. That's right. Free shipping. Don't wait.
800-708-3093.
You need to put that on our side.
I know, I'm going to send it to you.
800-708-3093. That's 800.
What's up, George?
That's a Cocodazo man.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call.
No, hot dog guy.
No.
Because the best
But I gotta show Andy.
not online.
Look, Andy.
See, Smart
I don't know how George left his lunch in front of him.
Oh! How did you do?
That's funny. Can you put that on there like a commentary?
Who's where?
Can you put that on our Facebook site like a commentary and make it appear?
Yeah.
That's a scary.
yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares
One of these
today
days,
to get
Andy,
the best prices
I would
on
love
your
for you to
next
talk
flight.
about, because you were at Tenement Square.
Also, save up to 50% off business and first
You were at
class
Tenement
tickets.
Square, right?
Yes,
One of these days when you come back, we need to devote a show to that. Because
Yeah, actually, this round for several years ago, when I was moving, I discovered my diary I wrote during that period of time. Yes, I record all the events, like personal experience. I don't know where it is now. That's very unfortunate.
Well, we're going to bring you back again when
Maybe my ex, stole it.
Oh, she might.
She might
It's
write a
off
book.
record, by the way.
She might write a book.
We have the sound off, right?
No.
Oh, it's on?
Oh.
I don't know how well it picks up
I don't
most
know.
of
You
it.
know what? Yeah, you just kind of always have to just feel like you're always on the air.
I was kidding, okay. Obviously.
All right, stand by.
Have you done your alimony?
Wow.
Censor. Hey, George. You going in? Wow, sis.
Vámonos.
You got it. Take it away, yes?
Vámonos here on the Chips and Salsa Show, CentralCityRadio.com, King FM. Guess what happened during the break? Andy Zhang downloaded the app. Woo! Yeah! And it was easy, right, Andy?
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy. Okay. Wonderful, great.
I can do it. It's so easy.
If,
I can do
if
it.
he can do it, anybody can do it. If I could do it, anybody could do it.
I can do it.
A 5-year-old could do it, yeah. Shoot. Of course, a 5-year-old's pretty technical these days. I just want to also say that a good friend here, Andy Zhang, he was at Tenement Square. So someday when you're back in town, I know you travel the world literally. When you're back in town, we need to devote an entire show and talk about that experience because it's, if you see Andy, you're not going to
we talk about experience, talk about how, the Western media and the Western politicians, how they miscalculate China.
Yeah, boy. So that's like a whole other show. We just don't have time because we're down to our last segment here. George, before we get into this with Andy, is there anything we have to announce?
No, but I wanted to mention in Puerto Rico, they're going bankrupt. The Democrats have made Puerto Rico give me over the years. That's why they have Democratic representatives there, and that's why they vote for statehood, but they really don't want statehood because they love the position that they're in, that they're getting everything for free, but
Until they're broke.
Until they're broke, and it's like the mentality is like, we're going to give you all the food stamps you want, we're going to give you all the welfare you want, but you gotta vote our way, and it's sad.
Very sad.
It changes the whole culture, all our culture, the Latino culture. What is it about? Just like the Chinese culture.
You work hard.
Right.
You work hard, you make your own way, and America is the best place to do that.
I'm a Puerto Rican. I'm a Puerto Rican. I've worked for everything that I've earned. I've been an activist. I've been a union president. I've been a Democrat for years, and then I went and I became a Republican. I've never turned back, and I will always work for what I have. And a lot of people don't understand that concept. But the Hispanics, we're raised with a conservative concept. It's the listening to the Democrats and listening to this free give me society. You can't do that. You can't live on that, because when they take it away from you, you don't have nothing.
Where do you go back to? And what is it, Margaret Thatcher? The problem with socialism is you run out of the other person's money.
Eventually, you run out of other people's money.
You know, and I'm Puerto Rican, but I consider myself an American first. And American
exactly.
value.
We're all American first.
And that's why you're Chinese, but you consider yourself an American first.
Absolutely.
He's no longer. I mean, he has a background. We have our heritage.
Yeah, our heritage.
I'm proud of my
Americans
heritage.
here.
I totally, as an immigrant, celebrate diversity.
Exactly.
But I do not want people keep coming to me, reminding me you're different.
Yeah.
I don't need you to fight for me.
Exactly.
Well said, man. That was awesome. That was great. Okay, we have a few minutes left here. You wanted to continue a little bit more
Yes.
about the danger.
So this particular resolution, SCR 1012, it's rational. Its argument is that we want to use the data to support the minorities' healthcare.
George is allergic to bad legislation. That's why he's so sorry.
Not you, because you're not Asian, by the way. So then we wonder, how is that possible? Because if you look at the criteria used in like state of California and some other place, the criteria is a total mess up. It's not scientific at all. It divides people. The criteria mixed up ethnic identity with national origin and the language and some other things. They're not only dividing Asians in California, they're not only dividing Asians into subgroups, they're even dividing Chinese into subgroups. So basically, here I have a copy of the form. You fill out a school registration form. When you fill it out, you're going to fill out first you're Asian, then you check your Chinese. Under Chinese, here's what's the absolutely ridiculous. Under Chinese, you have Mandarin Chinese, you have Cantonese Chinese, you have Taiwanese, you have so-called Thai Chinese. You never heard of it.
No, I haven't.
That's city, a region of Cantonese province, basically. I mean, if you use the data for like healthcare, what are those people going to? How are they going to be different genetically? The Cantonese Chinese and Mandarin Chinese, they're the same Chinese, right? They just speak different dialect, right? It's like someone in America is speaking Texas accent and someone speaking Midwest accent. Well, what does it have to do with their ethnic identity, right? The Taiwanese, you can argue how different the Taiwanese and Chinese are, that, make it a political issue, but genetically, Taiwanese or Chinese are the same, because the Taiwanese are migrants from mainland China, all right? The Thai Chinese is just a tiny place in the Cantonese province. So, how is that going to help you in terms of healthcare? It's not scientific at all, and it's just not reasonable. Let me tell you, like let's say you're Mexican. You fill out the form. You first check Hispanic, then you check Mexico. Now you're going to have to check whether you're a Chihuahua Mexican or you're Mexico Mexican or a Guadalajara Mexican. Are you going to does anybody really
First
think
of all,
that's
I
the
wouldn't
right
even
thing to
know.
do?
I think it's Chihuahua.
Exactly.
You wouldn't even know.
Unless you really want to play the identity politics to the extreme, you really don't need to know any of those.
Right.
That's my opinion. That's many people's opinion as well. So clearly, this type of resolution, I'm not saying the Kimberly, I'm thinking the people behind Kimberly who actually asked her to introduce this bill, this resolution.
Know who that was?
It's a left-leaning Asian organization, to my knowledge. Nationwide, clearly, that's a reason why all this legislation nationwide is sponsored by the Democrats. There's a hidden agenda to it. No matter what the intention is for this particular resolution, there could be unintended consequences. That's bad for a community, that's bad for the country.
Well, I see it like, let's say, one part of China, a group, I don't know, name one one of the divisions.
Cantonese.
Cantonese province.
Say the Cantonese. The Democrats woo the Cantonese and say, well, Cantonese are voting for so-and-so to be senator, and the other Chinese aren't, but the Cantonese are, and we're backed by the Can.
They're trying to divide us.
They'll divide you.
No, they're trying to divide us. And
same thing.
not to mention how difficult this is, because the criteria are so unscientific. How you're going to possibly practically implement this, and not to mention that the possibility tax dollar would be spent on this thing that's not even practical. It's a total waste of time, waste of energy.
Right.
We can't allow this to happen.
I even see it going further. As technology becomes more advanced. Let's say, like I just was joking that I don't know what my background is after Mexico. They'll probably be able to inject something into you and say, okay, you know what, you're actually this much genetically and that much genetically. It's very frightening, and it's against the fundamentals and principles of a free America. It really is.
And all your family and all your relatives from that part of town are voting this way. You have to vote this way, and you're like, well, they are my family, and I vote the way they vote. So they start controlling the way you vote.
Exactly, and also that's the core of identity politics. This data collection would provide a perfect vehicle for identity politics. It would provide even a legal foundation for someone, for the people whoever in power to implement affirmative action, to implement racial quota. It has dire consequences for our community. That's why we're so fired up. We can't allow this to happen.
I want to applaud you for being so fired up, and that's the kind of passion that will keep America free and keep us as we should be, as the founders wanted us to be. And will you please come back and update us whatever happens if you find out more information about this as well?
We're making an appointment with Senator Yi. It could be next Thursday or Friday. So we'll be meeting with her. We'll discuss. We want to know, what's her intention. This because we don't really we're not accusing Senator Yi of anything. We're basically the message we're sending to Senator Yi is that we're very disappointed with this resolution, and we think this resolution is divisive. It's certainly unfair. It's not even scientific, and it clearly could have unintended consequences they talk about. So we're hoping you will no longer support or sponsor such legislation or resolution.
You're doing the right thing, and everyone should take note of this, because you need to educate your legislators. You voted them in there, but they can't know everything. She may not even know about this. So if you have an opportunity, call or do what Andy does. Become active with your party, whatever party you belong to. Become a PC, a chairman like George, LD19. Wow, okay, so we're done. You have about 10 seconds. Is there anything else you want to say, Andy? If somebody wants to contact you, do you want to give an email out or anything about this?
Yeah, sure. If somebody wants to contact me, call me, 480-310-7527. We're fired up. We're against this resolution. We're opposing it. And stay tuned.
Great. And we hope that you'll be back again next Saturday. We'll be here at 4 p.m. with the Chips and Salsa Show on Central City Radio King FM. I'm Alice Lara.
With Jorge, and we're going to have our good friend Cesar Cisneros. He's a Hispanic running for president.
Right on. And just remember, be here as well. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Julian. So stay tuned for more Central City Radio King FM.